Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Ranking Nerf Lines. Today, we're not really looking at a line. Today, we're looking at hammer action blasters. See in the picture, if you can prime it one-handed with the lever, with the hammer, or whatever you want to call it, it's hammer action. We have 30 blasters to rank. Yes, they have been 30 different hammer action blasters made in a long time. And hammer action is probably, for a stock blaster, one of my favorite ways to use them. Like I know my favorite stock blasters on this list, so we'll just go from there. Starting out at number 30, what is the worst hammer action blaster? The Persuader is absolutely the worst and is one of the only pistol blasters I have completely thrown away. Or I gave it to Goodwill, but still. This thing looks kind of cool. It has 4 shots, so that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the issue with this thing is its hammer is so small, and just how it's built, like there's a lot of plastic around it. It's terrible to prime. It actually hurts priming it one-handed. And its handle is absolutely terrible. The middle part where the trigger, that middle area just doesn't fit your hand good. It's a round handle for some reason, and it's just small and it's just not very nice. Even though it's 4 shots, it's just so bad for a hammer action blaster. It has to be 30th because you don't even want to prime this thing one-handed, and it's really difficult to prime one-handed, even stock. So with that, it's 30. I'm sorry, Doomlands. I feel like you could have done better. At 29, yes, even the Roblox ones are better, because at least the hammers work. So, Roblox Armory is next. It's a one-shot hammer blaster, which is pretty stupid, in my opinion. Like, it's just really, really dumb. But, nonetheless, it's okay. The hammer works, it's just fine. The handle's way too small. Would not recommend picking up either of these two. But at least it's functional, and you can prime it, even though it's one shot, which kind of gets rid of the point of a hammer action blaster. At 28 is the Roblox Jailbreak, which comes in a set with the Armory. This one actually looks cooler, but still, what were you thinking? That handle can maybe fit 2 fingers at best. The sight looks really dumb, but the overall look of it is pretty cool. And the hammer, it's gonna work just fine, but it is still a one-shot blaster. So hammer doesn't really make sense on this blaster, but have a hammer anyways actually works and functions. Not like this one. This is the only one that won't have an actual decent hammer. Well, there might be one more. At 27 is the Fortnite Flintlock. Now this one, you just can't prime really one-handed. But it actually is pretty cool. It's one shot, and that big brick right there, I don't even know what that thing was supposed to be. Like, this is not a flintlock at all, but you can just prime that brick with your palm, which is what I normally do, and it works really well, and is very easy to prime if you do it that way, because this thing you just can't prime one-handed. That is true, but it is comfy. The trigger I like. It's one shot that's really easy to load, not like these things. And it has a different way of the hammer action. It's like you're supposed to doing it like at your hip, which I kind of like and enjoy. It's not perfect, it's not great, that's why it's 27th. And with that, let's move on to 26. Is the actual pirate flintlock. And yes, this does count as a hammer. Now this one, pretty sure you can't prime this thing one-handed. Like, that's just not happening. But ergonomics, like, it's a flintlock. What you want? If you want to be a pirate, you pick this one up. This thing has been on store shelves since 2014. You just prime the actual hammer back, that has the flint and stuff, and pull the trigger and it will fire, sending the hammer back. So it's pretty cool, but doesn't quite fit what we're here for, but it is cool. And just for coolness, it is a one-shot blaster, but for coolness, it's 26. 25. The Thunder Shot. Now, if you get one that doesn't break on you, still probably not worth it. It's big. It's really big. It is 8 shots, so you have to give it that. Handle is tiny. 3-finger handle at best. Actually has grooves for 3 fingers, so that's my guess. But bad hammer. Like, it's just doesn't feel good or anything trying to prime that thing. It'll actually break on you sometimes, so if you ever get one that doesn't break on you, it's okay. I don't think you can even prime this thing one-handed, just how big it is. Maybe. It's a possibility if you have big enough hands. But 25th, just because of its capacity, 8 rounds, hammer action, like, that's still pretty dang good. That's on the higher end of capacity on this list. So, 25 has its drawbacks, but it's okay. Hammer's bad, but it's okay. 25. And 24, the Lawbringer. This is actually, I'm pretty sure, the highest capacity one on this list. It's a rifle that's hammer action. That's really easy to prime. 12 rounds with another 12 in its stock. And just how it looks and how it feels is actually pretty nice. It is a bit small, but nothing bad. The issue with this one is its air. What is it? It leaks air, you could say. It's like O-ring in it is just bad. How it sits, just it's not good at pushing airflow, because this thing is not powerful at all. Modding it will not help, and it just has a flaw in its own design. So it just is not good at using the air pressure in its own blaster, because these darts do not go far. But 12 rounds, hammer action. You can chop it down if you want to make a big pistol. To be honest, the pistol that people made in the past, like, it wasn't worth it. The thing was massive. But because of its bad airflow, 24 for the highest capacity blaster on this list. And 23 is the Tricerablast. Now, this is a break action blaster that the break action does nothing. You can completely just rip that off if you want. But this is a 3-shot hammer action blaster with, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 dart stock, which that's not even a stock. Cut that off too, because that thing is awful. That is not a stock. But the cool thing about this one is 3 shots in the front. If you take the front part off, you do lose some of the cool dinosaur, but I think it's worth it. And this one has a kind of like flatter and bigger hammer. So this is actually one you can fan fire, and it won't hurt your hand fan firing it, which is pretty cool. And you can prime this thing one-handed. It just has a lot of cool things, just because how flat the hammer is. Easy to, well, not perfect, but you can use your palm to fan fire it. Probably one of the best fan fire blasters on this list. The rest will hurt your hand in some way. Issues with this thing is the break action, the stock. It's cheaper plastic. It just doesn't feel as good, and it's only 3 shots. So the hammer fire, you only get 3. So there's that. So 23. 22, the Outlaw. And before you roast me in the comments, the Outlaw is a very powerful blaster, that is true. It holds 6 shots and is pretty good. Like, it's fun. It's 120 FPS. I have one. Issues is the hammer goes into the handle and also returns, which is not how a hammer should work. Returning hammers are just not it. And because it goes so far down into the handle where you actually have to move your hand to fully prime this thing, it's not comfy prime at all. It is metal, but it's not comfy prime at all. And every time you have to prime it, you will fully have to move your hand in some way. And that's just not what... That's the only gripe on this blaster. Like, 6 shots. Everything else is good. But just how the lever works, it just makes it... just kind of ruins it for me. So 22. Because I have actually, I have... what is it? I have pinched... yeah, I pinched my finger with the hammer on this one. But it is a good one. Like, if you want power, you'll go for this one. But if you want the real hammer action style, this is not the way you want to go. 22. 21. The Mediator Stock Blaster. 2-shot hammer action. Decent ergonomics. It comes with a stock too. That's way too long. If you're like 7 foot, buy the stock. But yeah, blaster works just fine. 2 shots. Hammer action. Nothing much else to say. Just a cool little pocket pistol. 20 is the Duet. Now, has anyone ever seen this blaster in Rebel? Because I've never seen this thing ever. But it is another 2-shot hammer action blaster, which is going to have very comfy handle and good ergonomics just because how Rebel is. Like, that's going to be a very, very comfy handle. And it's going to be an easy lever action. Hammer action. Its only issue, same with this one, it's only 2 shots. 19. The Double Strike. Like, come on. It's the Double Strike. It has a beautiful shell. It looks awesome. Not the best performance. If I wanted something that did not look as cool but performed better, probably go with the Rebel, just because how the handle is, ergonomics are better. But this guy, it's Zombie Strike. It's the Double Strike. What do you want? It's 2 shots, hammer action, nice handle, issues with the trigger and stuff, and the bottom barrel is too short. But it's 2 shots. That's why it's only 19th. Sorry, Zombie Strike. You have better, don't worry. 18, the Driller. This thing, I don't even know how to talk about it. I hate the new Zombie line, replacing Zombie Strike. Hell, I think the Zombie line is already dead. But this thing is 6 shots, lever action, holds 8 in the handle, I think, for some reason. What do I not like about this blaster is the hammer itself is a retracting hammer. So you pull it down and it will retract, which I hate. That's not what a hammer is supposed to do. And the plastic quality is absolute garbage. Like, it's just the worst Nerf has ever made. Why is it 18th? Well, it does hold 6 rounds. It does have onboard storage, which is pretty good. Like, handle storage, like, that's a pretty good, easy way to get more ammo. 8 rounds, too. Like, this is an actual blaster that you could use. Like, cut off the front, get rid of scope. It's a pretty decent hammer action blaster. Just the retracting and the crappy quality puts it 18th. 17th, the Fortnite SR. Now, I actually picked up one of these guys not long ago, and I didn't realize how massive this guy is. It's 4 shots, smart AR. Handle is really big. It does not fit my hand, but it's still comfy enough. A little bit too thin. The blaster's thin in general. And yeah, it's just hammer action, 4 shots. That they did it right, not like Doomlands at 30th. But they actually did it pretty dang well. And I actually like this thing. Not the best performance, but 4 shots, not bad. Hammer action, 17th. Scope, get rid of that thing. 16th is the exact same one, but the PLE version. Just because it looks cooler. I like the yellow. But again, get rid of scope, and you'll have a pretty good hammer action blaster. 15th, Doomlands has made its return, actually halfway through the list once again. We have this one. I cannot read that name. But this is a weird one. This also holds 8 rounds, and it actually hits pretty dang hard, even for its time. Like, the airflow on this guy was just mint, because this thing can actually hit some pretty decent range. Well, from what I remember. I modified mine and completely broke mine. Issue with this thing is, why is it so chonky? Like, actually. Like, why does it have a grip on the bottom? And why is its tack rail way above? Like, why? Why did they make this thick of blaster? It did not have to be this dummy thick, guys. Sorry about that one. But hammer, good. Handle is pretty good. Still has that issue with like grabbing your finger. There's not enough space there between the trigger and the handle. But yeah, hammer action works pretty well. It's just a very wide blaster that you'll never ever holster. So if you want 8 rounds and you want to just run around with a blaster in your hand, this one pretty good choice. But there is one better on this list. 14, the Trailblazer. 8 rounds, hammer action. It's blue. Yeah. My issues with it is actually very easy to load because one side is just completely open. But my only issue is, what were they thinking with that handle? Like, you should be able to tell too. That handle is way too small. It's too far from the trigger. It's not going to be a fun trigger pull at all. Like, it's a really bad handle design. So bad that I have to put it lower on this list. Like, if it had a good handle, like even a Hammershot handle would have been better. Like, anything would have been better. Like, come on, Nerf, you can do better than this thing. But everything else pretty well. You could holster this thing pretty easily. 8 rounds, high capacity for a hammer action. 14th. At 13th, the Fortnite 6 blaster. This thing is 6 rounds. It's way too long. You can just chop that barrel right off or never put it on to begin with, and you're left with 6 shots. That's actually a pretty good blaster. 6 shots, big handle. That's actually pretty comfy. I don't think anyone will actually be able to have that whole handle in their hand, but even if you get half that handle in your hand, it's actually pretty comfy. Easy to prime, very easy to prime. Nothing bad whatsoever. It's a very sleek design. No tack rails, no nothing, just very sleek. And 6 rounds. Pretty good. Like, this has even replaced some hammer shots, in people's opinion, just because how sleek. You get extra round, and pretty good handle. Not great ergonomics, just how big the handle is, but it's a nice, comfy handle. 13th. At 12th, this is like if you're just gonna run a hammer action blaster and you have nothing else, like a child, like this would be their dream right here. 8 rounds, 8 round storage, hammer action, hits actually pretty hard for a hammer action blaster, which is crazy because it's from the Alpha line. This is probably one of the best blasters from the Alpha line, but it works. It works good. There's nothing really else to say. It's 8 rounds. It's pretty big for 8 rounds. That's why you're going to be running this thing and nothing else. But it does have onboard storage, and it does hit hard. It's just a better version of this one. And yeah, the handle might be a bit blocky, but I don't think that's a big problem. Just a massive hammer action blaster. 12th. 11th is the yellow version. I think the yellow version is better than the blue version. Why? Don't ask me. 10th. The 4 Victory. This right here might be the strongest hammer action blaster on this entire list if you don't count, the Dart Zone Pro. But this thing hits hard, like really, really hard. At least the first barrel does. But this is a 4-barrel smart AR, beautiful ergonomics, beautiful shell, lever action, and yeah, it's just good. Like, this would be awesome, the field. It's even a bit smaller than most other things on this list. Not a lot smaller, but just slightly smaller. So this could be a 3rd dairy even, because this thing packs a punch, has only 4 shots, but it is a beautiful hammer action blaster at 10th. At 9th is the Hammershot Red Edition. The Hammershot is a 5-shot smart... Wait, no, sorry. It's a 5-shot cylinder blaster that is a hammer action, of course. This was still probably known as one of the greatest hammer actions in all of Nerf. But I think for some of the wronger reasons, just because it was widely available, because I don't think it's the best hammer action anymore. I don't even think it was the best hammer action at its time. Roast me in the comments, but I'll show you in a minute. The hammer action red version looks terrible, but issue with all of hammer shots is the handle with the wrap on it is just not a great handle. It's not bad. It's a mid handle that just doesn't feel great all the time. And definitely the lever is not the best. It works well, but I just don't think it's the best. But just how the blaster looks in general, beautiful design, I think. It's just a bit blocky, and it's only 5 shots, so that also hinders it. And the red version is the worst of them all. I don't even know what Nerf was even thinking with this one. It's just red with a few lines on it. It sucks. At 8 is the Splatter, the Hammershot Splatter one. This one reminds me of, like, I don't know, like the green ooze from TMNT, or just like the, what was that, the like award thing with all the goo that they had on Cartoon Network or whatever it was, or even SpongeBob-esque. It's cool. It's pretty much a Patrick blaster. And 8, same hammer. It's just a hammer shot, just better design, not design, but better paint. 7 is the Hammershot. You can't go wrong with this design. This is still one of the best designs, one of the best blasters in Zombie Strike. The Hammershot. Can't go wrong with it. It's just easy to load. Lever action. Handle's not great. Trigger is also a mid-trigger, mid-handle. But it's hammer action. Widely available. Everyone loves it. There's nothing wrong about it. It just has some gripes. 7. At 6 is my favorite version of the Hammershot, the Stripes. Hammershot Stripes. It's a working working Hammershot. It has the caution tape all over it. I think that looks cool. Like, I kind of want to pick one up, but I don't want to drop 30 or 20 bucks anymore for a Hammershot. I have enough of them. But yeah, this one, I just like the design, the yellow, the orange with the caution stripes. It's just cool to me, and I think it's awesome. But what could be above the Hammershot? Because the Hammershot is only 6th, you may be asking. Well, at 5th is the 5x5. This is the Rebel Hammershot, which works just like a Hammershot, but the ergonomics on this guy are just about perfect for what a hammer action can do. Beautiful handle. One of the greatest handles I've ever held in all of Nerf. 5 shots, hammer action. What fails with the hammer shot works with the 5x5. That's all I got. It's just better ergonomics. At 4th, see, this is a reskin of the Sweet Revenge. I just think this one is bad. The stripes, the blue, the purple just don't work. But the Sweet Victory, which came out, I think, a year or so after the Hammershot, or even before. Not before. Like, half a year to a year after Hammershot or so, something like that. Before Victory. The Sweet Revenge. Sweet Revenge. Sorry, got confused. This thing, 5 shots, like I said. Beautiful handle. It's amazing handle. And is hammer action. Just works really, really well. And it's kind of cool design. It's definitely on the girlier side, like Rebel is. But the wing and the pink, like, I love pink. Not my favorite color, pink, but it works enough. It's 4. At 3 is the Sweet whatever. It's just another reskin. But this one, the purple with the feather, the black feather going into the blue, but still the hot, not quite hot pink, but pink all over it with the black. This is a pretty cool looking blaster, to be honest, and I would love to get my hands on one of them. That's actually a really cool look, in my opinion. And at 2 is the one you can still pick up for only, like, it goes on sale for like $12 sometimes. I think it's the $15 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles blaster. This is my favorite stock blaster. Same, it's just a Sweet Revenge reskin, but it has a really cool ergo with the Teenage Mutant Turtles, 2 turtles on each side. Like, the ooze on the handle is cool. I just like this design. I like the purple. And it even comes with darts that look like the turtles, which is cool. 5 shots. So, yeah. I actually own 4 of these. This exact one, because I like it so much. When I go to a stock war, I use 2 of these. Works awesomely. I love this one. But what could possibly be better than the Sweet Revenge? Well, there's only one blaster that can truly be at number 1. And it's a line that probably no one knows of, a company that no one knows of really anymore. But it is the Wrecked Jury. Wrecked is a company that uses CO2 cartridges, and they released only 3 blasters. 2 of them are pretty bad. This was the only one they got right. This is a fully replica of an actual Magnum, so its ergonomics are absolutely perfect. Easy to prime, easy everything. 6 shots. It has extra cylinders. It uses a CO2 cartridge to fire half darts, which that means it has a 2-stage trigger. The only blaster on this list that has a 2-stage trigger. You can prime it with its hammer to make it a light trigger pull, or you can just pull the trigger to make it a heavy trigger pull. This is just a Magnum in every shape and form. This is the closest thing we will ever get to a real steel to nerf conversion, and it uses CO2 cartridges in its stock, in its handle. It is awesome. It is amazing. It's a fast-firing 6-round revolver that has multiple cylinders. It is... Not everyone likes Wrecked, and I must admit, not everyone likes CO2. But you cannot deny this is the closest Magnum that has ever existed in the foam flinging hobby. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in a completely different one. I have many different rankings of like Elite, like Rebel, like other things on my channel, and even challenges. I hope you take a look before you just shove me away into the corner of Nerf to never be seen again. I mean YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you in a completely different one. Bye bye.